Hey, welcome back everyone. Rob here from Ram Studio Comics, and today I'm going to demonstrate some of these new brushes I created. I've created Procreate brushes before and added to the brush pack, and I figured we could do a little bit of a demo today. So I've been working on this character here, um, and yeah, a few people already joining in. That's awesome. Icon, good to have you. Tub Dubs, good to have you back. Sonnen Studios, hello, how are you? And Bra Gaming, love that name. No, no. So yeah, you know, as always, like I like to start with a quick audio check, make sure that you guys can hear everything. Everything's good. Stream health is healthy. It always tells me it's healthy on this side, but what are you seeing? What's your experience? Tub Dubs, yeah, it's been a month since I streamed. Yeah, it's tough, man. I'm trying to find the sweet science to what helps the channel. I want to make sure I'm giving you guys what you want to see and sharing as much content as possible. But then also I have to look at analytics and kind of figure out what's working, what's not. It seemed like the channel was dying down from all the streams. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe it's some other things, other factors. All right, so we're saying sounding good. And then Comic Boy says, Comic Boy 24R, am late. You're not late. We just got started. All right, so yeah, so just trying to read through a couple of these real quick. So essentially, let me show you what I got here. See if you guys. Let me ask you this: anybody, use Procreate for their comic art? What do you guys chime in real quick? Are you more traditional or digital? Are you more Procreate and or CSP, meaning Clip Studio Paint? What's your weapon of choice? Your tools of choice? Yeah, see, and I can drop out the color here too and let you see just the inks. But what it is that these brushes, I've got a few different brushes that do a few different things. And one of the ones I've been experimenting a lot with is the ones that crosshatch. And so I made this set originally for Clip Studio Paint, and then I started to try to make them for Procreate, or I have made a set for Procreate. And they're, by the way, just so you guys know, the set for Procreate is pay what you want. So if you don't got the money to chip in, you just put 0 during checkout. Free set, no big deal. I'm happy to share the content. But I gotta admit, it's actually done really well. Like from all the people that have contributed to the set and liked it and shared it, it's been shared a massive amount of times. So yeah, I'll share the link too so you guys can check it out if you haven't already. But that's where I generate all these little cross hatching effects. Is with those custom brushes, even like this Kirby Crackle effect. So yeah, so I'm going to show you a little bit of that today if you guys would like to see it. So if I take this off here and I go back to the sketch, and then I have a layer over top, set the screen mode so it's kind of like blue lining, and then I can add a layer over top of this, get over to these brushes here. And so a few of them are just different style inking brushes that, react like, your, I wouldn't say like a crow quiller brush. Everything's different, but they work pretty well. They give you the line variation. Some of them I dull down the line a little bit. That's like what this outliner brush is. Typically I use that more to generate my outlines. Now it's a lot faster to use a selection too for a lot of these shadows. So one way you can do it is where you just draw around it like this, obviously. And then you can just quickly grab the color swatch and drop it into place. So that's pretty fast. You kind of get moving here and you do all your fills. Another way is you can just take the selection tool, and because you can pick your pen up and reposition your screen, rotate it, whatever feels comfortable, you can really draw around this entire area pretty confidently. You know, your edges don't have to be perfect anyways because you're going to go back and render, so you can generally clean up any inconsistencies as you're rendering. So either way, but that gives you, you know, some of your base shadows to work with. And then as far as like I want to show you one thing real quick that I thought was so cool. I just found this out with utilizing these Procreate brushes, is that say you're going to shadow this area, right? Add a layer. I've explained this part before, but I'll show you the part that's different that I thought was really cool. And I don't know why I didn't pick up on it before, but I just noticed it when doing this piece. So say you go to render with these and you go around this area, right? So one of the things you got to do is you got to get the right start in orientation to get the form, you know, to shadow the form properly. Well, that means you got to rotate. You do a 2-finger pinch, and you got to rotate it just right. The brushes work, the way they've got them set up is they work where they point up relatively. So this is an angled brush. So what I mean by that, if I pull downward, I'm going to get a different effect than if I pull across. Okay, and then more pressure is going to give me a widened version of it, and then less pressure is going to give me a smaller, tighter version. And really, they don't space out a whole lot, but kind of. So what I'm saying there is you have to practice with different orientations of the screen with the brush, right? And then also, say you do a curve, and then you hold it, and then you come up here and you click Edit Shape, you're going to get these control points, right? Well, it kind of gives you a lot of unique ability to control the cross hatching. Notice if I pull to the side, it tightens up on one side. If I pull down, it looks a little different. See that? So that's a really neat way to get the shading right where you want. So if you're going in here, again, you're working off a layer floating on top, and you can, you know, trace around the bicep here, and I can click Edit Shape, and I can pull that around and, you know, get that right where I want it, move on to the next spot. And what I'll typically do is I'll add a couple layers as I'm going because I can always merge them down real quick. And then if I want some cross hatching, I'll rotate it a little bit and I'll cross hatch it. And then if I go over, since I'm on that floating layer, I can erase back. And then if I like that, which I think that's good, I'll merge that down and then move on to the next area. So does that make sense? All right, I'm going to read through these comments real quick here. So yeah, some of you are saying traditional, some are saying Procreate, one for CSP. Yeah, bro gaming, if you you look like you're being overly negative, bud. If you do that anymore, I'm just going to kick you out. So stop it. Come on, dude. It's like every comment I read from you is like something you're trying to be like rude or something. Okay, yeah, this dude's got problems. Did the stream end? Are you guys having problems? Hey, what's up, One Mighty R? Good to have you. Live stream's not working. Come on. Saying excellent condition on my side. Had to refresh the stream. Yikes. Yeah, and this, I don't know what else I can do. I upped my service to Comcast. I'm running off a wired connection. Not a whole lot more I can do to try to improve it. It's working. Okay. All right, so again, if I'm going to work on a different area, I'm just going to add another layer. A lot of times too, what I think helps is like to put that into place and then back up a bit so you can see how it looks from a distance. Because some of this, you need a little bit of variation to the brush size, I think, or it's gonna, it pretty much looks like half toning, which, oh man, it's dropping out, isn't it? Just stop for a second, but it's fine now. Okay, goodness. These streams, this is another reason why I end up not wanting to do this, is because by everything that I can find, I've fixed everything on my end, and we still have these problems with the stream. Now it's telling me no viewers and excellent condition. That's horrible. There's no viewers, but the condition is excellent. Mike Mumble, good to have you. Mikey Mumble. Yeah, so, but yeah, I think that they do resemble halftones a lot, quite a bit. But I think these can be great for people that are trying to, get a little bit more confident cross hatching. And cross hatching in digital has always been a little bit trickier, I feel. So that's why I wanted to make these. And I don't know, I'm kind of having fun with them. Like, I don't know that everybody will use these in their work in a similar fashion. We're all going to use them a bit differently, but I have seen a couple artists that have done like really beautiful work with these, like even approach this stuff in a little bit more of a vector art type way and come up with some really neat effects. So yeah, thanks, Mike. You really appreciate that. And so I'll go back. Now, one good thing about using the selection to do your fills is if you want to stay on a specific cross-hatching brush, you don't have to jump back and forth. So I can get in here, do the fills after the hatching, which normally I do it the other way around. And actually, I keep my fills on a separate layer. Something like that. And then the other thing I like to do with this, excuse me, is create some negative lines as I go. So I'll kind of cross hatch by erasing lines. I don't even know if you call that cross hatching, but just negative line making. I think that kind of makes it look a little more interesting as well. Merge these down as you go. Actually, I don't really like that shape there. It's like I drew that in for the anatomy for the shoulder, but I'm not digging it. I'll actually just skip over that separation and shadow into here. Yeah, so I made this character. I was just wanting to do a character design. And then I shared on Instagram, shared on a couple of things, Instagram, Facebook, and I had people just kind of give me different ideas for the names. I should have pulled a few of those up, shared them today. There were some really good ones. I'm always a bit lost on the names because it seems like all the good ones have been taken, and now you got to resort to just changing the spelling or something like that. But I'm trying to remember some of the good ones. I should just pull it up. It was like, Atomic, or I don't know, somewhere like Captain Atomic and things like that. And I'm trying to remember now. Let me pull it up. But yeah, there were some good ones, and it was pretty funny. Like, people's willingness to help and like develop the name for the character. It's always fun. I'm more of a visual person, so for me, I like designing the character by the look and then actually developing the power as. So essentially, I was just thinking of a character that had the ability to radiate energy and deliver, punches of radiated energy, really like radiation, and obviously that can get into what is it, solar radiation or man-made radiation, like Hulk type stuff or what, gamma, whatever. So all this different stuff. But I ultimately was thinking something like, power of a sun, but more of a red sun, not a yellow sun. I don't know. But every time you go down that rabbit hole of, I'm going to make this character, I'm going to name this character, I'm going to try to develop a power source and what their abilities are. I mean, I don't think there's anything that hasn't been done, right? I mean, I think of myself as a pretty creative person, but I cannot think of anything that hasn't been done. Everything is a copy of a copy of a copy and a variation of the things that are out there. So one person said that it looked like a combination of Invincible and Omni-Man. And I thought, yeah, that's I could definitely see that, I guess. Like he has a circle on his chest like Omni-Man, and he's got a mask similar to Invincible. Um, but then again, aren't those characters just variations of other characters? So it's like it's so tricky. Like I think the only reason somebody made that association, or a couple of people made that association, is because those characters are so popular right now. You know what I mean? It's like if not, they would have said like the head and the character. To me, it looks a little bit more like who is it from Youngblood? Shaft, right? Isn't it Shaft? He has the red mask, and so if you had asked me going into it, I would have said, oh, somebody would say it looks like Shaft with a cape, But if I'm saying the name right, I think that's who it is. Good day, Chris Maycock. Good to have you on the show here. Hello, Rich Ware. Sorry. LOL said Crackle. Let me find the other comment there that you were mentioning. Hey, y'all. Yeah, good day, Chris. I'd already read that one. Okay, and somebody's saying Invincible is Gohan. I'll have to look that up. Yeah, I mean, I think everything is, everything's a copy. I mean, it just is. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way it is. But yeah, it's so funny when people, well, that looks just like so and so. Like you ripped it off or something. It's like everything looks like something. You just gotta look hard enough. And in my defense, I'm actually not that well versed on what's really out there. I mean, I definitely know the popular things and the current things, like everybody else that has access to the internet or Amazon Prime or whatever streaming service you're watching, Netflix. But then I don't know like a lot of the, I don't know, variations, all the different cool stuff that's out there. Like you guys on the stream here will constantly mention animations, and it's stuff I just have not seen. Like like it just shows how little I know about the stuff that's out there. So realistically, when I do make something that looks like something else, it's usually a mistake. But yeah, I could also be drawing things just purely from memory and not really realizing that, yeah, I just ripped it off from something else. Okay, let me try a few more of these cross-hatching brushes. And there's a couple other things in here I want to show you too. But you guys are welcome to request if you want to see something else. I just figured we haven't done something on Procreate in a while. Antone, good. How are you? Thanks for being on the stream today. Yeah, so this one right here really looks like a halftone. I ended up using this one quite a bit for like shadowing the side of the cape, you know, so you can kind of start it before and then after. And again, you can hold it and adjust it like that. Now, another way to use these that's pretty effective is you can pre-select the area. So if you don't like going back and erasing this stuff, you can pre-select where you want the tone to affect, like this, and come through there like that. Why did that not work? Oh, because, goodness, I drew the selection right past the line. Whoops. Sorry, people. Giving some bad advice today. All right, so right there. You'll see then I don't have to go back and erase it. So you can like just designate that area first, then run the effect through there. Yeah, so these brushes are also available for Clip Studio. They're a little bit different. Actually, to tell you the truth, Clip Studio brushes react a little bit better in some regards. I like spending more of my time working, you know, in the Procreate app for most of the drawing process, some of the inking process. Clip Studio just has a better overall brush engine. Here, let me do this. I'll share the link to my Gumroad where you guys can see this stuff. Or better yet, let me pull up the individual links. But the Procreate set is free. And basically you just can, you know, it's a pay what you want, but you don't have to. You type zero during checkout and get them for free. That's fine. It's the Clip Studio ones aren't. Those are, I can't remember what I put the price on those. It's like $5 or something, but those are a paid product. But let me pull up these links and share them with you real quick. And of course, it's taking longer than I suspected. Yeah, it's on Gumroad. Almost there. All right, so here's the Procreate set link right there. And let me pull up the other one for you. Anybody watching that show, Jupiter Rising? Is it Jupiter Rising? Jupiter Ascending? Netflix show? Let me know what you guys are thinking of it, or if you've watched it, what you thought of it. About halfway through it, I got mixed feelings on that one. Jupiter's Legacy. Yeah, I slaughter things every time. No, definitely not as good as The Boys. Techno Wolf. Yeah, good observation there. No, nowhere near as good as The Boys. Um, yeah, The Boys is on a whole nother level. I can't get enough of that show. That's awesome. There's a lot of back and forth with that story that's just driving me kind of nuts. Like it's yeah, I don't know. It's a bit, I don't know if convoluted is the right word, but it's it's still entertaining enough where I'm finding myself watching it regardless. But yeah, I could have did so much better with it. Here's the other one for, let me label this. This is the one for Clip Studio Paint. If you guys want to check those out. So those are both the inking sets. So sorry that took a minute there. Okay, back to this. Now, oh, my screen pop. Oh no. Okay, sorry, my screen went black there for a minute. I don't like that one for that effect. Some of this, you really got to experiment at different sizes and see, what's going to work where. And based on your style, it's going to vary. You gotta see what fits your style. But there's enough of them in here where you should be able to find different effects that work out. Some of these are just background patterns too. Let me show you some of that. So, and these ones are kind of nice. So I made some different variations of ink splats. These always come in handy, when you're trying to rough up the background, do different things for that. Some that are heavier, some that are lighter. Get this one over here, which, if you find yourself having to cross-hatch a bunch of texture in the background, these can save some time. And then the thing I wanted to get your guys' feedback on as well is I also made some, yeah, thanks Jits, Junkie, Jack, appreciate that. Got a copy of the book, I appreciate the support. Techno, well, $5 is too cheap. Yeah, it's enough though. I mean, if enough people get it, I'm able to, keep making more. So, and that's the way it's been. I gotta admit, the free set that I put out, the one that I'm showing you here today, is actually is done so well that it's hard to believe I put it out there for free. It shows how cool people are when they find something that they like, that they're gratuitous and they just give for the sake of giving back. It's super cool. Like, yeah, free digital items is a really neat thing, and I suggest any of you that are like making digital products and you're kind of jumping into that way of doing things, test out some free items. It's pretty neat. Like, one of the good things that gets shared more often, people are a lot more likely to share something that's free, and that gives you more exposure. The brush pack that I'm showing you now has been downloaded over 30,000 times. I mean, that's insane. And I don't think that would have happened. Well, it definitely wouldn't have happened if it wasn't free. But it's kind of neat. Oh, you know what? I want to show you this one too. So where'd it go? The Stubble Brush. So this one's kind of neat. So like, picture your. Let me just kind of draw something out real quick and show you where I'd use this. I haven't even got to use it yet, but I want to. You know what? I guess. I'll just draw it on this character. No sense in drawing something else. We'll test it on this character. So this Stubble Brush is just little hairs, and I'm hoping I can dial in the settings to get it just right. But say what always bothered me is like you're drawing Wolverine or something, right? And he's got all this stubble everywhere and all this hair, and it just takes forever to draw all that, and I'm trying to get the settings just right where I can get this in, and I might have to go back and modify it a bit, and I'll share all the updates as I modify it. Like, that's pretty bushy, but once I get the settings just right, this will be a huge time saver. And some of these you probably have to like put it into place and then erase back. So like, let's try it on the chest here. It's pretty funny, but telling you, like, when the settings are just right on this, it's going to be so worth it, because I'm okay if I never have to draw chest stubble again and arm hair. You know what I mean? It just takes too darn long, and it's like, I mean, I guess people could be like, yeah, you're not doing it by hand and that's cheating, but really, I mean, do you really want to spend hours and hours of your life just doing stubble? Maybe you do. But then you can go back, I'll set one of these to an eraser. Gotta get the brushes right. And just go back and erase some of this so it doesn't look too awfully thick. It's basically a texture, and I mean, especially when you're talking about somebody like Wolverine where it's just like all over. So Get rid of these ones on the very side. Yeah, so this one still needs some modification, but I'll get it right. That looks pretty funny, but we'll get it there. All right, and what was the other one? The other one was a little bit more adjusted. Up here. No, maybe that was the better one. But the tricky part too with these is like the overlap. So you kind of have to undo and redo so you don't get the funky overlap. But yeah. And then one of my personal favorites is the Kirby Crackle. Super effective for power effects. And so you just apply a little bit more pressure when you want the larger ones. And then just kind of move the pen around randomly. And then what I like to do here, same thing, is turn the eraser to the same brush. Where'd it go? Scale that up a little more. And then just erase a few of them back. Seems to look cooler. And bam, Kirby Crackle. Quick and easy. Techno Wolf says, does pressure affect dot size on that brush? A little bit. Excuse me. So some of these are basically like stamps in a way, but then yes, some of them have some pressure sensitivity and some have less. So for the hairs, a lot less is set up on that because, you know, if you start getting very small and very large versions of that stamp effect, it's going to stand out. It's not going to blend well. This one, there's a little more pressure to that. Hello to Roya, good to have you. And thanks Walter Jr. for that. Yeah, the Kirby Crackle is my favorite. You know, and what these are, there's a lot of, this set, I don't have them all numbered here. The total set has like 30 something, maybe 40, I can't remember. It's quite a bit of brushes, but some of them are more effective than others. And then some are me kind of testing what I think can be helpful for other artists. So when you guys give me feedback, say, okay, that brush was effective, this one worked, that one didn't, that helps out a lot. Like even for this background effect, let me show you this one. So you drag it across, you can press down harder and softer and get variation. And by itself, it doesn't look too effective, but if you got to do this effect for a background, it can save a lot of time. And then what you do is you rotate the screen and you can go the other way. Oh, see, that's backwards. Hold on. So I'd have to pull down. Yeah. But you got to get the canvas kind of straight to the edge of the iPad and then pull across. And you get some of that cross hatching in there. So, you know, it's just like when you get a certain effect, some of these can be really, really helpful. But, you know, you might look at them and go, that doesn't really apply to my type of work. You know, it's different for everybody. One that I'm trying to get right is this one right here, where they're just window patterns that I created, right? So actually, let me go to a new canvas here. Don't mind all my little crazy scribbles here. I start and draw a lot of different things. But let's get to a fresh canvas. So yeah, so this like window pattern, right? Just like that. Nothing too great, but what it can do for you is if you're not good at drawing windows, you know, there's a couple to start with that, you know, obviously I drew them and it's just like a clip art thing. But what you can do is you can learn to use these in perspective. So at first it seems like, well, how would I use that? You know, it's just a flat pattern. Yeah, it's reference, but I can get reference from anywhere, right? But what you do is let me just show you how I would use that. Because I've done this a few times and it's a little tricky, but it does work. And if you're not into drawing a bunch of windows, say you got a building with a lot of windows, um, and you don't want to draw every one, then it can help out. So let's say, let me bring this line over more like this. Get back to a regular brush for the eraser. Oh, thanks, Ron. I appreciate the support. Yeah, Tammy, those ones, these Procreate ones are free. I mean, it's actually pay what you want, but I'm totally cool with it. Like, somebody needs them, check out, pay zero. And I tell you what, if you get them for free and you check out with zero, then and you like them, just make sure to shout it out. Share them with somebody. Like, share the link or something. Because that's a good way to like pay it back as well. You know what I mean? Like, just help me get more people to see what I'm doing on this stuff. Because yeah, it helps me to keep doing this. So it's like I don't want to be like, yeah, I don't need money or nothing. But at the same time, free stuff does, it comes back to you regardless. I don't care what anybody says. Like when you do something for free, it's not free. It'll still come back in a good way because people reciprocate. They're generally pretty grateful when you help them out. So I do want this to be more about helping each other than oh, I got to make money on this stuff. But anyways, so with the perspective tools, you could just drop in a perspective, right? You drag this over, you get your perspective you want. We'll do a lower horizon line, and you would just start drawing in some windows, and you could snap the edges. But there's a lot that goes wrong there, right? You like start doing it, and then all of a sudden one window looks a little weird, or you can't get the right design that you want. So what you can do here is you can drop in some a perspective grid. So I'm going to do drawing assist here, and then I'm going to tone this other one back. And I normally don't draw a whole lot of this. I can just do the grid and get going on it, but I'm trying to show you hopefully how how to look into this a little bit more. But you draw the grid. Okay, so just draw past your wall there, so you got plenty of reference points. Okay, so there's your reference points. So now you can essentially get rid of that sketch. You could grab this other brush. Where's it at? Where'd my windows go? And I'll use a square one because it'll be easier to kind of wrap your head around. So you draw one of those in there, right? And then what you do is you just distort that where you want it. So first, like, use uniform, scale it roughly the size that it's going to be. We'll start to the left, for instance. We'll start to the left because we'll have an easier time doing this. So, and I'll duplicate it just to make sure if I misdistort it, I'm good. Okay. And then I'd probably put a layer here, set to blue, set that to screen mode. And keep in mind too, you can have all this set up and then leave it so you don't have to keep resetting all this up. There's definitely more efficient ways to do this, but I'm starting from scratch here to show you how to do it. So you drag this, say, right here, right? You use your freeform and you're going to distort it, but you got to like click and hold the corner. And say you bring it to here, and actually I'm going to squeeze that in. I'm going to click and hold here. I'm going to squeeze that window in because a lot of times when the perspective is on an angle like this, a big mistake is to make the windows too wide. So you'll have something that looks good, but the window's like way out here. So you got to really, just pay attention to your photos, but you'll have to squeeze it in like that. So just like that, you squeeze the window in there. Now, obviously that looks really flat, right? You're like, well, dude, that doesn't do anything at all. You got a flat looking window. It's not that easy, but I have to give you the patterns flat so that you can distort them in any direction that you want to, any perspective. And you just have to use a little bit of your creative mind to adjust this. So for instance, I'm not going to do it this way this time, but I just want to tell you, if I wanted this to look better, I would grab the inside of the window here with my selection tool, and I would actually drag it backwards like this. Okay? Or I'll just do it. Here, let me do this. I cut, 3-finger swipe on the screen, paste. I'm going to drag it backwards. That gives me that inset of the window. And you got to figure that's what happens anyways in perspective, right? Something that's centered doesn't stay centered because you've now angled it. And you got to also picture that you're probably not going to see this bottom ledge. So you can get that right out of there. Or you're not going to see the bottom ledge because you're looking up at it. So you see what I mean? You gotta kind of maneuver this a little bit. But once you do that, you're ready to go. You can just come in here. I'll add another layer just to keep it where we can toggle it on and off if you guys got any questions. But see, you can just fill this in. And then all of a sudden you took that flat pattern and you made it look dimensional. And you can put this same shadow on every, you got a picture that you're looking up into the window, right? So you can put this on every edge that you're looking up into. That sounds weird, but up under. So shadow here, shadow here, shadow here. You know, you just keep going with that same, and they don't have to be shadows. You could draw the lines and all that. I'm just using shadows because they're quicker. Okay, and oh, and this side right here, probably another one right there. All right, is that making sense to you guys? I know I'm just kind of rambling on about this, but I think this is a really neat effect. Okay, yeah, you guys aren't comments. I'll assume you're understanding everything, or the stream just collapsed. Who knows? So yeah, so like that, boom, you got the window edge. You know, it's starting to look more dimensional, right? Well, the sides don't look dimensional, and this bottom piece doesn't, right? So all I have to do, I'll just merge this together. I don't need them to be. So like this bottom, this is supposed to be a bottom ledge piece, but remember I supplied it where it was flat. All I need to do is grab this and move it over and up. Let's bring it all the way to about here. So now it's going to look more like a dimensional ledge as I finish this. Now remember, I had originally started with the perspective grid in Procreate. So all I have to do is I can add to this by clicking Drawing Assist, and then I can draw right in perspective and I can add to this. See how easy that is? And all of a sudden I've got a dimensional ledge beneath it. I can put some depth and dimension over here. So on and so forth. I could shadow under here, whatever I want to do. But this is all, you know, now I'm working off the perspective tools. So it just works together is what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be all one or the other. You can use them in unison. And the other thing is this is the really neat part about it. So say you get this window all looking the way that you want, and you're probably thinking to yourself, man, dude, that took so long and you've got one window. But this is really where the neat thing happens, is that once you get that one window done, you just duplicate it. And remember, you got to do this in perspective first. And then you just go to uniform, make sure it's set to uniform, and then scale it. And then use that grid from before to keep going. So let's do another one. And this doesn't seem like much until you're having to draw a building with a bunch of windows, and then you're pretty glad you took the time to do this. This is usually how it works for me. Actually, this probably needs to be larger and over a little more. You see, and then, you know, and this can work. You would create the window to the left side in each new perspective, and then you would just distort them as you go over. And the same thing with the bricks. So say you're like, okay, that's the windows I wanted. I can use the perspective assist to get the perimeter of the building. That's pretty easy. So say I wanted, like, you know, the perimeter of the wall here. You know, some little brick pattern off to the side just so it's a little different than a flat wall. And then for the inset here, I wanted some bricks. So let's say something like this. On the inside of that area, I wanted a brick pattern. Then I could just create another layer, come back to the brushes here, draw this brick pattern, and draw across, and then hold, and it's going to snap, and then you pull it tighter together, and that'll give you your initial start to the pattern. Bring that up, 3-finger swipe on the screen, duplicate, drag it down, drag it down, and I like to zoom up on this part because it's kind of like you got to think about whatever you do here is compounding. So if there's this little blip, you're going to see that little blip over and over, or it's going to get worse as you merge these. I'm not going to be too critical here, but I'm just trying to give you an idea how that works. Swipe over, duplicate, bring that down, tap, merge down, swipe over, duplicate, bring it down. You know, and here's another thing, like if you're trying to do this, you don't want to do this every time, right? You get a good brick pattern made and you just save it. So I'm just giving you an initial thumbnail to work from, but then after you make some of these brick patterns that you know you like, you could texturize them, you could do all this cool stuff, you save them. I mean, that's the beauty of digital. Like, you just want to save your steps, you know. So I like to cut the edges so it's a little cleaner to work with. So what I would do here is I get the bricks the size they need to be. Let me toggle this off. I need to make them the size they need to be on the left side. Let me show you right here. Nope, hold on. Right here. Okay? The reason being is that as I work over, the perspective is going to do the work this way. Okay? So I need to focus on the size over here. If I focus on the size over here, I could still get away with that because I have the relationship of the window, but you kind of might get an adverse effect over here, and vice versa. Like, you generally it's harder when you don't have the reference point of the window. So here we should be pretty good, but just keep that in mind. You really want to do this over and over until you get the size that you want, you know, in correspondence to the left side, which I think that's about right. I'm just gonna make one more copy. Drag that up. Zoom in, using a 2-finger pinch to zoom in, which I'm sure if you work with Procreate, you know all about that. And then tap, merge down. Okay, so now I want to cut the sides, okay, so that I have like a cleaner edge. Quickest way to do that is just drag this off the screen, let go of the selection, and then drag it back. See how it cut the sides? Same thing over here, drag it off the screen, let go, then bring it back. And now I've got a box shape of those bricks. I'm going to duplicate it one more time. So I got one to edit, one as a backup. And so the same thing I did with the windows, I'm going to use freeform. I guess I could use distort too, right? Maybe I should use distort. Would that be easier? Let's try distort. And then I'm going to drag the outside in perspective. And remember, our lines are going up, so we're going to pull more to the top, right? Got to really pull on these to get the perspective we need. Zoom in a bit. How much? I got to go a bit further. And again, once you get the pattern right, really the initial pattern, this part you're always going to have to distort a little bit differently, but I'd still rather spend the time doing this than drawing every brick. Even though I will draw over these a bit regardless, to texturize them and make them look a little bit more stylized. But yeah, let me see if is that close enough? I'm like seeing double here with all these bricks. I think this has got to go down a little more, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, let's try that. And so now I can drop this behind the windows, and then usually what I'll do, I'll crop the sides off real quick. Goodness, I miss when my erase used to work better. It's weird. I upgraded to the newer iPad, and yeah, it's like I go to erase, the 3-finger swipe across the screen does not work as well as it used to. Okay, so add a layer, grab the selection tool, fill this in with white. Do that for each window. Oh, make sure I have the selection tool on, forgive me. Goodness. Look at that, we got a building, we got some windows and some bricks, and I know this isn't for everybody. I'm sure some people watch this. Man, just draw it by hand. What are you doing? But I don't know. I don't really like drawing buildings that much. I don't mind it. I mean, I gotta do it. You gotta have scenes and backgrounds for your characters. But to me, I'd rather do something like this and get it done, save it, and then if I can recycle it, I'm gonna recycle it. But yeah, let me see real quick if anybody has any questions about the process. Make sure that you guys are all understanding this, and I see some thumbs up, and somebody posted a brick pattern. How did you even do that? I didn't even know that was available to post little images like that. But yeah, and then the other thing that you can do is you can use like another brush to kind of muck it up a bit so it doesn't look too crisp, and because that's probably the only drawback, because this stuff will look, you know, really clean and crisp, but that's when you use these other brushes and, you know, your freehand techniques, and you just go through and make it a bit more dingy if that's your style. So like, you know, you can mix in some of this. Let me scale that down some. And I'm going to create some more, I like to call these like grunge brushes, you know. I'm going to create more of those. I'm actually streaming, I've got the iPad connected to my Mac, and I'm streaming through OBS. And then also, you know, this stuff is never really a full replacement for just drawing through it. So like I mentioned, I would probably get in here, I'd make a lot of little imperfections to the bricks. Maybe not a lot, but enough to where it doesn't look so repetitive and so boring. Some cracks, you know, just different lines throughout. So a lot of this is just set up, you know, so that I can get in here and do some of this stuff and not even have to think about it anymore, you know. But yeah, so you can just get in here and render over top. Yeah. So hopefully that makes sense. And then, you know, you can do like the glares on the windows. So on and so forth. Okay, let me read this comment real quick here. I got an off-topic brush question from the building thing. What brush do you recommend in Procreate that would just act closest to like a watercolor brush for laying down shadow areas? Yeah, so for, I don't know about watercolor. For the one that I would use, I think what you're asking about, I just use like one of the paint brushes. So let me go to painting, and I don't know if I modified this or not. I don't think I did. I like just using the brown brush like this, and then maybe half opacity. Are you saying something like this? And sometimes I'll just, when I'm painting, I just smudge it around and then sample from what's there. But are you talking, I mean, you got these other ones that resemble more like watercolor, I would guess, even though I don't paint with watercolor, but maybe something like that. It looks like watercolor kind of, right? Yeah, then you can't get real small with that one. Okay, so Gene, what do you mean you can't get real small with the brush? Just so I can help you out here because I'm kind of lost on what you're saying. Like if you make this brush really small, how small are you trying to get? Because you can make it to where it looks like a pencil. Just waiting for the response to that one real quick, you guys. Do you guys got any will you do a collaboration with David Finch, Kamikaze? Yeah, I think we're gonna be doing a draw stream where me and him draw together, which is so super scary for me because Dave is a way better drawer than me, a way better artist. More, he's got a lot more skill. The things he's done with his art. But it's cool that we're gonna do it. I got to go for it. He's given me some really valuable insights into my own work, which has been super inspiring because it's like, you know, I grew up watching his stuff and being amazed by it. Yeah, so Teddy Leopard saying Procreate already has a selection of watercolor brushes. Just use those to mark down the shadow area. Hey, what's up, Eric Grove? Good to have you. Yeah, and you got to check out the stream Eric and Dave did where they painted Captain America. You guys did awesome, Eric. That was, yeah, those guys killed it on that. I can't paint like that. I keep my painting on the digital screen here. I'd love to try it at some point, but yeah, I get a bit messy and I lose my art when I try to paint. Okay, so Jane's saying they just don't act like a real brush in terms of going from a tiny point to a large wash. I guess that's something I haven't got used to. Yeah, see, and as I just kind of mentioned, my painting comes from a digital painting standpoint, so that's why maybe I'm not relating to what you're saying because I've never traditionally painted with watercolor. I've never really. The only thing I've traditionally painted with was an airbrush. I used to airbrush cars, and I'd use a little bit of faux finishing or dabs of like sponges for different wall murals. I painted my son's wall mural, stuff like that. But that's about it for me. Like I I don't have a lot of traditional painting experience to share. So I'm gonna go back to working on the colors of this one. I think. How about that? Do you guys want to see me just color on this character? You got any questions there? Yeah, I'm still trying to remember. You know what? Let me pull up what some of the names were for this character. Some of them were pretty darn good. I thought it was just nice of people to sit there and give it a shot. It was funny too because you saw like people saying, Solar, Power Stream, or whatever. They were naming all these names, and then somebody was like, Joe, or some regular name. I thought that was pretty funny. I always crack up at like different comments, like it's just hilarious what people decide to write on some of this stuff. Like one of my favorite things now is reading through YouTube comments because people just get so creative and expressive with comments. And I think I'm impressed with it because I typically struggle with like what I'm gonna write in a comment. Better off I can just sit here and talk to you guys. But yeah, some of the comments were pretty funny. But you know, at least if you do have a superhero named Joe, it's like, you know, at least no one's gonna get mad at you and be like, oh, you copied that name. Even though there's tons of Joes out there, but if you can't call him Super Guy or Superman, because they're gonna be like, oh, you can't call him Superman. That's illegal. You can get sued for that. But you can call him Joe all you want. Super Joe. Yeah, like Action Man, that was one of them. Neutrino Man, Energizer, Universe Man. I'm just reading off some of these. Yeah, Daryl, that was one of them. Just call him Daryl. Quantum Knight, oh, that one's kind of cool. Let's see. Omni Man 2, I'm assuming that was an insult. That's awesome. Let's see. Cosmic Crusader or Captain Cosmic? I kind of like Captain Cosmic. I don't know. All the good ones are taken. Like somebody wrote Supernova, but that's taken, right? Isn't Supernova taken? They're all taken. Red Atom, that's kind of cool. Yeah, and I did like the idea. Somebody wrote Comet, and I did like the idea that he derived his power from a comet. I love those types of scenarios where like aliens show up. What was that show where aliens showed up, gave the guy a suit? Greatest American Hero, wasn't it? And he was all clumsy and when he was flying. That's like one of my childhood favorites that I can remember. As a kid and watching a show and saying, "Oh, this is my show. This is a cool show. This is an adult, what looked like an adult show, but obviously not. It's more geared for it was geared for kids." But I was a little guy. I mean, I had to be 5 or 6 watching that, and but yeah, it was a really neat show. But I like those ideas where it's like extraterrestrial base, something from space shows up and gives them their powers. That's always a cool concept, and you can really take it anywhere because you're not, when it's something out of this world, you got a lot more room to play with ideas. I think it doesn't have to be explained. Like when it's science based, people can really call you out on it. But space, we can say, well, there's just things we don't know about space. Everything's a theory. Negative space man. Cataclysm with a K. That's kind of cool. Tommy's over here typing the theme song to Greatest American Hero. Yeah, that's good stuff. My Sketchbook 340. Good to have you. All right, what do I got here? I started doing the highlights. Yeah, it's fun to draw characters like this. I think that when I first got into comics, that was the main thing that I did. Everything I didn't draw like I didn't try to draw like popular characters, fan art of popular characters. That came later on. Like I mean, I definitely had my attempts at drawing Spidey, Spawn, and the ones that I was a huge fan of that got me into drawing comics. But I actually spent most of my time just creating characters. Like I have all these characters I created back in the day. I got to dig them up. They're hilarious to look at now, but that's all I did. It was all character creation. That's when I came up with my character Blackstone. I remember I had this character called Recon that had 2 like metal dogs, and he was part metal, or cybernetic, and he was a soldier that got hurt and built back up. That story has been done 100 times. But it was a cool looking concept, and I remember being really proud of it as a kid, and yeah, just I got a bunch of those. But it's funny, I think that's what attracted me to comics the most was the ability to just create a new character and, you know, develop this story about them. And but yeah, now it's like all I could think about is every time I make something, it's like, goodness, it just resembles 10 other things, and that's almost impossible not to do. Yeah, so now as I'm doing this, so do you guys get any actual questions or anything you want me to explain, or just sit here and work on the dude here? All right, let's drop in some shadows. Soft brush. Nice one, sketch therapy. Hey, yeah, this is Procreate. Somebody must ask what this is. Um, quick question. What did you guys think about? Because I know everybody here had to watch Mortal Kombat, right? What did you guys think about it overall? I'm kind of curious. I'm not gonna say how I feel about it yet. I want to see what you guys say first, and then I will reveal my answer or my thoughts on the movie. I know it got some mixed reviews on the good old internets. It sucks, trash, goodness. Gotta be all mean about it. Tell me how you really feel. Man, a lot of people didn't like it apparently. You know, you guys are probably the same people that think Creed wasn't the greatest band of all time. So I don't want to hear it because they were, and Mortal Kombat was not that bad. Like Eric said, it's purely a popcorn movie, but I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, it was bad, don't get me wrong, but I guess I'm comparing it to previous Mortal Kombat movies. They're all bad. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Nickelback is the greatest band of all time. What? You know what I meant? Like, you know, those two would never be compared because they're both equally as great in their own amazingness. You know what I mean? Yes, Nickelback is pretty freaking cool. Okay, we've all been there. We've all had the windows down, cruising, singing Nickelback top of our lungs. Is that just me? Oh, could you imagine a Creed and Nickelback concert? No, that's one I'm going to. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going. No, they got a bad rap, especially like Nickelback. I mean, they just like picked on that poor singer dude. What's his name? I don't know what his name is, but it's like just leave him alone. Yeah, but as far as the Mortal Kombat's, I mean, I don't think the any of them were that great. You know, like it's just one of them things where you have to accept that it's a Mortal Kombat movie. It's not going to be the next Avengers, but I don't know. I thought it was okay. I'm getting pretty used to bad flicks though. I really think that Justice show had some true potential, and I'm not all the way done with it, but it's pretty bad in some areas. And it does bug me a little bit because yeah, I think it has some true potential, had some true potential, whatever. But there's some very apparent cheesiness that it's like they just and some storyline plot holes, that is just so apparent that it's like they were just being lazy about it. Like I guess that's what's happening though. We got so much of this stuff coming out, and it's so wildly successful for the most part. Like they're like just chucking this stuff out to everybody to get a piece of the pie of the superhero genre before it fizzles out or something. Which, I mean, hopefully it doesn't fizzle out, but it's got to segue into something, I imagine. Yeah, same thing. Sketch therapy. I expected it to be bad. That's what I'm saying. Is like I just didn't expect much out of it. Just have some fun with it. I just picture playing even the video game was cheesy. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, loved it. I grew up on Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, um, but they were, you know, to adapt those into a movie. I mean, that's got to be no easy task. It's got to come with a certain amount of cheesiness. Wasn't expecting Shakespeare. Nice. Yeah. But as I've said in other streams and stuff, I'm just happy that they're actually making this stuff for our viewing pleasure. Um, yeah, do I wish they'd get a little better in some instances? Of course, but I'm still a fan. I watch it all. But I must admit, I haven't seen the new Wonder Woman. I was kind of mad because I was totally going to grab that on HBO Max, and right when I signed up for it, it was no longer on there. And normally I wouldn't let reviews get to me and then avoid buying something like that because I pretty much own all the superhero movies. Um, and I'm a big Wonder Woman fan. And I thought the first one was great. And yeah, I haven't seen the second one yet because just people knocked it so badly. And I let it get in my head, and I'm like, I'll just wait till it comes out free on one of these streaming services. I'll tell you what, I feel guilty about buying any of them anymore. I was buying a lot more digital downloads and occasional DVDs, but I have like, I don't know, 3 or 4 streaming services now. So I feel really guilty about spending money on a movie when I'm already paying streaming services. I feel like, no, I need to just wait it out. Deal with it. I mean, it's like everybody and their brother is coming out with a streaming service. Carl Kilgerman, I just caught Man of Steel, loved it. Man, yeah, you definitely waited it out. Man of Steel's awesome. You know, I like the Superman stuff. I didn't think Superman was bad in any of the movies. Maybe the fake mustache thing was a little awkward, and not to mention the new Snyder cut or whatever, not new now, but you know what I'm saying, was awesome. It really was like a big difference, and I was totally not expecting that. I was definitely thinking that, oh, they're going to bring this out and it's just going to be, it's another money grab thing. It's just going to be the same content, just changed out a bit. No, it was massively different. I was highly impressed with that. Um, and I'll be honest, the first time around, I got to try to watch it again. Not the first time, the Snyder cut. Um, but yeah, I couldn't even bring myself to watch Justice League for the second time all the way through because yeah, it just the continuity was really weird. It just didn't, I don't know, just didn't captivate me the way I thought it would with those characters that I think are all individually awesome. It was like it wasn't cohesive enough, as a movie. But then yeah, the Snyder cut actually was, I thought, or maybe just because I wanted it to be, so I was giving it a pass. But I don't think so because I think I could watch that again right now and finish it again, no problem. I can't tell you how many times I've watched Avengers. I've lost track. I'm actually kind of a little bit concerned of where they're going to take that now. I mean, how do you beat something like that? They did so well with it that yeah, I think the second, I don't know if you'd call it the second act, but it's going to be much harder to uh to get anywhere near that level of success. Yeah, Marcel, you agree the Snyder cut actually works. Yeah, it's amazing how different it is. And it's really tragic when you learn why, why. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys are all super fans just like I am, so it's like, why he had to do that, why he stepped away from the movie and that all went down. Super sad tragedy, and it's like, so I mean, there's a reason that happened. It wasn't just that they were going, they weren't producing a great movie. He was producing a great movie. It's just life got in the way very seriously, and um, which is unfortunate. But luckily, he was able to come back and put his vision out there. I still do kind of wonder how much of it got lost through that process of having to redo it like that. Yeah, so you're saying my sketchbook 340 saying he didn't like it regardless. Wants his 4 hours of life back. I get that. Like, but yeah, you're saying you also like the original Punisher with Dolph Lundgren. Um, yeah, see, and I'm more of a what is it, Jane Doe, the one with Travolta as the bad guy. I'm more of that Punisher fan. Even like the newer Punishers. I mean, the newest is pretty cool. He's a lot darker take. But yeah, I kind of liked Jane Doe. Is it Jane Doe? It's got a weird name. It's Jane Doe, right? Is the old Punisher the one with Travolta as the bad guy? So that's my favorite Punisher. But yeah, we all got our different flavors. What we accept and what we like and what we don't. Yeah, and I know how you guys feel because I couldn't watch Garfield as Spider-Man. I couldn't stand those Spider-Man movies. I don't think I finished any of them, which is really odd for me because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. But because of that, I think I was just very picky about what I thought Spider-Man was. So Garfield just didn't embody the character for me. Totally took me out of it. I'm not. He's a great actor. I've seen him in other stuff. Thought he was awesome. But then I thought Tom Holland would kind of fail in that role. But then I think he did a great job. But for me, it's Tobey Maguire. As many people that hate on him and don't like the guy, uh, I think he's more of a jerk in reality or something. But I thought he was, to me, that was Spider Man. I can still watch those movies and feel like that's one of the best versions of Spider Man. Um, but I think Tom Holland did pretty darn good. A lot better than I thought he was going to do, as far as like when I first realized who they had picked for the new Spidey, and yeah, he was actually pretty impressive. Yeah, I think Toby was more the nerdy version. He played the better Peter Parker basically. Like the only part I didn't dig about that is when they gave him the goth hair or whatever they were doing, where he was the Venom one, and he was a little bit of a darker version. That part was lost on me. I didn't really care for that. But other than that awkwardness in that part of that movie, I thought the rest was killer. I even liked the one guy from that '70s show as Venom. I thought he did a great job as Brock. Eddie Brock, and but I think overall he got praise on that role. I'm pretty sure. Like I remember reading something they were like, "Oh, he stole the show," kind of thing in that particular one. But overall, the movie just didn't receive a lot of praise. There's a lot of people hating on that one. But yeah, I think Sam Raimi did a great job telling that story in a way where it was lighthearted enough, uh, but still had the right serious undertones when it needed to. Yeah, I don't know. I really thought those were good, and those kind of launched everything, right? I mean, that's when seems like that's when we were all waiting for the superhero movies to get good, and you kept waiting. It was like bad flick after bad flick, almost there. And then Spider-Man came out, and it was like, bam, they finally did it. They made a character that actually looked cool in 3D, and it all worked. And yeah, it seemed like that was a big accomplishment. And then it showed what people could do. Um, and then yeah, I mean, now years later, we got something like a Avengers Endgame that came out, and it was just freaking. It's still got the number one spot, right? Isn't that the number one grossing movie of all time? I think it is. Let's add a clipping mask here. All right, trying to read through these real quick. Goodness, now sketch therapy is really hating on the Snyder cut. See, and you got to be a smaller percentage because it seems like overall people were really impressed with the Snyder cut. And I think it's because the first iteration had so many flaws that by the time that one came out, they're like, oh, okay, it makes a little more sense. It holds together a bit better. I don't know. I thought it was better, but you know, everybody's got a different set of standards for the characters. That's what's so weird about this. It's got to be so hard for these people producing this stuff, and even for the artists drawing the books. We as fans, we have so many different uh, things that we appreciate and think are right or wrong about a series of characters. I mean, you're just never going to please everybody. You're just not. What's that saying? Like, you can please 90% of the people 100%, or 90% of the people 10% of the time, and 10% of the people 100% of the time, but you're never going to please 100% of the people 100% of the time. And man, that's got to be really true for making movies and anything to do with um, fan fiction, because we all perceive these characters differently. We both read the same book and have a very different interpretation of the characters because we're having to imagine, we're reading that story and we're developing some of that story in our mind. So yeah, and then you bring it to the big screen and it's like there's so many ways they could get it wrong to a lot of people. Oh well, it's still all in good fun. Still good stuff. Yeah, thanks, Marcel. I appreciate that. Yeah, legs are tough, but um, I just practice drawing them a lot, and I practice drawing them from anatomy books or anatomy and pictures, but also just other artists that I think do them really well. Um, You know, David Finch, his work on leg anatomy is awesome. Um, I think Jim Lee. I do pay attention to Jim Lee's the way Jim Lee does it, where he stylizes it. I got this one picture on my wall here, and it's of Justice League. And what I like about the way he does not just the legs, but the characters overall, he does these very long, arms and legs, and a wide torso. It's weird. It's almost like, I don't know. It's almost like you would have a tough time making it work unless you were him. Like he does it, in his own style where he exaggerates the proportions of the arms and legs in a way that is pretty difficult to do, but it works really well. Makes the characters look very powerful, very large, and yeah, I still to this day I like his Superman. Yeah, probably the best. I can't think of anybody else I like that draws Superman better than Jim Lee. Probably him and Ivan Rice does a really nice version of Superman. Who else? Who's your favorite Superman artist? Let's see what the comments are on that one. Yeah, tell you what, man, that is like the hardest character to draw for me too. He is easy to get wrong. That's all there is to it. Like it's just whenever you draw Superman, if you don't get the proportions right, features right, it just does not work out well. I would imagine if there was like an interview from, you were sitting in a room and they're interviewing you to draw comics, one of the determining factors would have to be when they say, all right, now draw Superman. You're like, oh no, no, can I draw somebody with a mask, please? Spider-Man, Spawn, anybody? No, draw Superman. If it's not right, you don't get the job. Okay, Brian's version, Burn, Kurt Swan for me, classic. You'll have to look that up. And there's one for Rice. Yeah, Neil Adams. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of great artists that do it well. Yeah, I think that for me, what I like about I liked when he did the New 52. He designed that suit, right? Didn't Jim Lee redesign the suit for New 52, or did somebody else do that? And he just I picture that shot where he's busting through the wall and he's got the new suit on. Seemed like it was a cover piece or something, but Alex Ross, yeah. Yeah, I do like Alex Ross's painted versions. He goes with that very nostalgic look to him, right? Usually. Yeah, and I do like Jim Lee's Batman too, but as far as Batman, I would have to give it more to like, David Finch, um, God, who's the other guy? Jason Fabok, and obviously he's got a lot of David style, and techniques for that, but they both do the best Batmans from what I can tell. But again, everybody's got a different flavor when it comes to that. Oh, Greg Capullo for Batman. Yeah, I do like. Well, I like Greg Capullo's version a lot. Um, it's a little more animated, but I guess then again you could say that about Jim Lee's version as well. I don't feel like it embodies. I don't know. It's gritty and dark. I just like. Um, I don't know. I like the way like Dave and Jason do like a little bit more of a darker rendering and lots of rendering. But yeah, Capullo's awesome as well. Capullo, what I like about Capullo is his storytelling. I really do. Like I love finding his rough sketches. You know, they'll put them in the back of the books, right? Different areas you can see his rough sketches. His rough sketches are freaking amazing. Like there's so much life in those rough sketches. I wish they'd show that from more artists, but it seems like whenever I find them of Capullo's, it's like storytelling is just immediately on point from those loose sketches. I always learn a ton from those. Or I try to, anyways. Maybe I don't always learn from them, but try to. Marcel writes, I just like how you phrase that as a question. Can I promote my art here? It's Marcel underscore art gallery on Instagram, mostly comic characters. No, you cannot promote your art here, Marcel. You cannot promote Marcel underscore art gallery on Instagram. Oh, now you got me doing it. All right. No more Jedi mind tricks, people. That wasn't nice, Marcel. Of course you can. That's fine. Everybody support Marcel, follow his work, give him a digital high five. Dan Mora, huh? No, you're good, man. I was just messing around. Dan Mora. I'm trying to remember. I know I've seen his work. I'm gonna have to look that up. It's like I used to follow that that name or something. It's ringing a bell. What did he work on back in the day? Kelly Jones is Batman. Cool. El Padrino, good to have you here. All right, let me. Oh, I gotta shadow more of this side. Okay, Jordan Wheeler says, "What did you think about Venom 2, the trailer, and are you going to watch Army of the Dead around this month on the 21st?" I didn't know about Army of the Dead, but yeah, I'd love to watch that. And then Venom 2 trailer looks fantastic. I'm a big Woody Harrelson fan. I don't think there's anybody on the planet that's not. And I think they did a great job in the first one. I thought there was a few areas that were a little lackluster, like with the animation of Venom. I feel like that was a little bit off, but still a big fan. Big fan. I'm not trying to down it. I'm just saying, like, if I was to be totally honest with you at this very moment in this juncture in life, then I would tell you that, yeah, I think I could have did better. No, I could have did better. But it's awesome. I can't wait to see part two. Um, and three and four and five and however many they make, I'll be there to watch them. I'm just a huge fan of the fact that they're actually doing characters that you just wouldn't have pictured they'd do a Venom movie. It's like years ago. Me growing up, that wouldn't have been done. They just wouldn't have did it. Shoot, they didn't even make R-rated superhero movies until was Venom R-rated actually? It had to be, right? But wasn't the first one Deadpool? I think that was the very first successful R-rated superhero movie, which is sweet, you know. Just shows that a lot of the fans are older, apparently, old enough, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So they can delve into all these other cool stories. Like I was a huge fan, still am, of when they did Sin City. Like I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. You know, it was a great, edgy, dark storyline, and something that, you know, just at the time there wasn't a lot of that I was seeing presented in that way, and highly successful, and it was fun to watch. Oh, was Blade the first one? Yeah, huge Blade fan. Yeah, see, but I'll be honest with Blade, I didn't know that was a superhero at the time. So I was a huge fan of the movie, huge Wesley Snipes fan, and then when it came out, I didn't find out till afterwards that that was derived from a comic. I thought that was just a new movie character concept, and yeah, I'm actually I was totally surprised that it was derived from a comic. It's kind of amazing how many of these flicks are from comics. You know, there's a bunch of them that caught me off guard. I'm not the comic guru that I should be, that I wish I was. I actually got to get back to reading more. I read a lot of comicsology and stuff, but I go for a lot of, the popular titles. I'm not really versed in like the nice variety of comics like I should be. Okay, so Blade equals Proto Deadpool. Okay, yeah, no, that was the start of it then. Yeah, for sure. I guess I can't be claiming that Deadpool, broke that barrier then, broke the fourth wall, or no, the rating system. Crazy to think though that Ryan Reynolds was in both those. Now that we think about it, he was in Blade 3, right? And Deadpool. I think it's only fair that they bring Wesley Snipes into Deadpool 3. If you guys got any connections, make that happen. Oh no, I didn't know that. So you're saying he was in a Spider-Man cartoon? Yeah. See, you guys know more than me. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. All right, let me try to add some highlights on the cape here. Clipping mask. What do we highlight red with? White? Guess it depends, right? Marcel's like, remember those big mouth vampires on Blade? That was awesome. Yeah, those things were creepy, man. That was like give me nightmares. But that was awesome. Seeing like that right there. Okay, I'm gonna say again. I thought that was a total first. Now I've definitely seen tons of movies that have ripped that idea off in lots of ways, but that seemed like that was the first time anybody portrayed a vampire like that. Um, yeah, that was freaking cool and gruesome and scary. Yeah, the Blade movies are awesome. But I know somebody's gonna be like, no, there was a movie back in 1982 written by where they did that exact same thing. But see, that's why I like being oblivious to all this stuff because everything's new and exciting to me, you know? It's like how I don't mind that one day I'm probably going to get I can't say it. Alzheimer's? Because I like meeting new people. Why can't I say Alzheimer's? Wow. This is why I can't live stream for too long. I get tired. Oh, that's a good one, Jordan. Make Wesley Snipes his bishop. That would be cool. Yeah, I don't know if he could. I mean, I think he could pull it off. I don't know what condition Wesley Snipe is in these days. He'd have to be pretty buff to be bishop. I would think, anyways. Bishop was like a massive character, massive mountain of a man. Yeah, Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's. I gotta admit though, it's a pretty tricky word. Stop drinking tap water. Well, I have an RO unit. I prefer reverse osmosis. Well, this was going to be on showing you guys how to use Procreate brushes, but apparently nobody wanted to learn about that today, so I totally named the stream the wrong thing. You know, this is the part I have a problem with naming the stream. You know, like I name it like, hey, today we're going to draw backgrounds, and then, you know, by the end of it, we're drawing like anatomy or something, you know, we're drawing freaking puppy dogs and kittens. And it's like, I really shouldn't have named that. So, like, what do I do there? What would you guys do? Just not name the stream? Just call it, like, today's stream. Where it goes, it goes. Where it goes, nobody knows. If you can't say it, you might have it. Yeah, I get it. You're panning on me for the Alzheimer's thing. Listen, it's random words, okay? Where I just don't remember certain things. You know, some of them are pretty difficult, like words I don't use all the time, like my name. You know, it's not like I call my name out very often. So yeah, it tricks me up a bit. Who am I? I don't know. But yeah, I think Alzheimer's, I'm going to do it again. Never mind. I'm just not saying it. I don't think white was the right highlight color for this cape, is it? It's kind of throwing me off a little bit. Let's try the blending mode. Oh, I kind of like that add effect. Then it looks a touch pink, doesn't it? Use pink for the highlights on red. Well, I guess then that probably looks better then, right? The add effect kind of did make it look pink. Yeah. That's the ticket. I'm like the slowest colorist ever. Oh, it must be on the wrong layer. What happened there? Oh, because this is another clipping mask. Yeah, see, I did the suit on a different layer. I'll just add another clipping mask over this one. Didn't even drop my selection. Look at that. I'm a G. people still say that these days? Or am I showing my age by saying I'm a G? I used to be a G. I used to be a little G. Now I'm a big G. Dollar dollar bills, y'all. Anybody know that song? Now I'm really showing my age. That was a good song though. You know, I will go as far as to say that was a great song. An exceptional song. Nah, I'm a G. I'm a G, nah. Montel Jordan, you got it. Yeah, that song. You know what I loved about that song, besides the fact that like now it just makes me have like this nostalgia, but it had so much bass. I had these two 12-inch kickers in the back of my Grand Prix, and that song, it was one of those songs you didn't expect to have that kind of bass, but then a certain part of it would hit, and it was like, oh man, pounded. Or maybe it was a different song on that same CD. Anyways, back to Alzheimer's. So I can't remember. I think it was that song though. Yeah, thanks Marcel. I'm having fun with this one. I think he came out pretty cool. He does look a little typical, but that's gonna happen. I feel like for me, like when I go to draw a superhero, I'm gonna if I try to make them something that I think looks cool, I end up like pulling towards the ones that are traditionally the bigger name guys. So then it looks like some of those iconic characters. But I'm gonna try to develop more on the channel here and try to really vary it up because it's almost like if you play it too safe. I guess that's what I'm saying. If I play it too safe and I go for what I think everybody deems as cool, you get the same kind of stuff. I need to really vary it up a lot. That's why I came up with my character Blackstone, where he's got like the alien on his back. He looks all crazy. He's different looking than a lot of characters. Because I was hoping that, when I develop that character and get those books out there, it'll read entirely different than what most the known commodities are or whatever. But then there's a certain amount of fear that goes with that because you're trying to draw. It's almost like if you go with something safe and something that resembles the stuff that's out there, then it's probably going to sell, because you can map the success of what's already being, what's already working. But then, yeah, you try something wild and different, and it could either be more amazing or it could flop. So there's that potential for disaster. And I think that's why a lot of people just go with, they go with things that actually look like the characters that are already out there working and succeeding. All right, what do I have this to add? Vadkidia, sup? Good to have you. Thanks for showing up at our humble little stream. Yeah, so what do you guys think about, like, if we do a stream and we do a stream schedule? Show of hands, like, how would that be better for you guys? Like, something where we can, if I can commit to an actual time each week, will you guys be able to make it? So I feel like I just randomly jump on here, and there's probably a lot of people that just are never going to be able to make it if it's a random thing. But I'm a random kind of person. Stream schedule is a good idea. Okay. Let's see. Ricky says, Robert, have you tried a more digital painterly style? Um, yeah, I mean, if I guess depending upon what you consider that to be, I think I have. I mean, I've got definitely have painted pieces. I haven't been digitally painting as much, and I'll be honest. Like when I paint on in this software, I've got a couple that I think came out pretty decent that I like, but I traditionally like painting more inside of Clip Studio. I really like the way the smooth watercolor brush works in there, so that's like a big part of my process. So for me, my better paintings have come out of there. I got really into painting for a while, and then I just kind of fell off as far as digital, you know. And but I got to a point where I was wanting to really try to develop my line art, and so I've been drawing, and I've been drawing a lot more traditionally, as you guys probably know from watching the channel. I've been doing more traditional art videos. Um, but then this one was all digital. So from sketch to what you see here, every bit has been digital. Um, it's kind of hard because like with digital drawing, I feel more at home with the end result. Like I can get to the end result better. Um, but then like with traditional, I love the pencils, but then I'll hit some roadblocks, especially proportion issues, stuff like that. I just did this piece of the Hulk, and I posted it on my Instagram. I didn't really like it, honestly. I almost ripped it up. I was like that mad that it, I never rip up my art, but it just didn't come out the way that I wanted. It started to look good, but then by the end of it, I was using a bunch of whiteout and trying to fix it. It happens, you know. But see, the beauty of digital is that I can adjust things so easily. So many things I can adjust that I never feel backed into a corner. And I shouldn't feel that way traditionally, but there are times that I do. So, yeah, and I do like painting in Photoshop as well. Um, the one thing that bothers me is that in Clip Studio I can do everything as good as I could do in Photoshop except the liquefy effect, which I can't remember if it's called warp. And anyways, Clip Studio's version is nowhere near as good. Like the liquefy effect in Photoshop is amazing. Now, it's actually pretty darn good in this software. In Procreate, it has a liquefy, really good as well. But Clip Studio, that's the only part where when I get back into a corner of a certain piece, I go to reach for that liquefy tool and it's not there, and it's different, it's warp or something. I don't know. It's not as good, at least not the way that I utilize it. But it's just funny how each one of these softwares have some aspect, if not a couple, that are unique to them and that make it so much better. But pound for pound, overall tools and gizmos and doohickeys and all that good stuff, Clip Studio's got the most bang for the buck, in my opinion. I really come back to Procreate because I like the ability to be portable. I'm totally portable with this device, and that means a lot because I get really sick and tired of sitting in the same spot drawing. I don't know, I barely even use my art table anymore. Um, and yeah, just I would rather be able to go sit in the living room if if I want to go hang out with the family, even if they're busy doing something else, I can at least be in the room with them while they're doing their whatever they're into. But yeah, but when it's being a recluse in the studio, that can get, I don't know, it drives me nuts. Oh, I can't wait for these shows to be back in action so I can be around some people and at least drawing around people. Not that you guys aren't people, that's not what I meant. Sorry. You guys are actually some pretty cool people, just so you know. In case nobody told you today, you're pretty cool people. Alright, so let's see. Let me try to do the hair, I guess. The only drawback to this setup, though, is the freaking screen. I wish they would come out with a big iPad, like a massive iPad. Like, why is Apple not doing that? You felt offended. Jordan Wheeler, why are you offended? Oh, because I said to be around real people. I'm sorry. That was insensitive, and I hope you'll forgive me. You guys are real people too. You know what I mean. I'm not good at this talking thing. Okay? Alright. Let's see if I can color the hair without messing it up. What tone would I use here? Try that for the shadows. Well, I'm glad you're joking. Because I was offended that you were offended. You're offending you offends me. So I'm glad you're not offended. I will now retract my previous offense. Oh, I'm sure I offend tons of people when I'm doing these streams and these videos. It's bound to happen. I think the fact that you guys are still here watching means that you're just exceptional individuals that give me the benefit of the doubt. Because I know I wouldn't watch me. I would have clicked off my channel, maybe even clicked dislike. I don't know. I would have probably said something mean to me. Alright. It's kind of weird talking about yourself in the third person. But every time I think of that, you know, the whole third person thing, my favorite movie, or not my favorite movie, but a part in a movie that I always think about is when in Step Brothers, when they're like arguing with each other when they first met across the table, and he's like, what's the one guy's name with the curly hair? Well, they both have curly hair, but not Will Ferrell, the other guy. And he's like, his dad tells him to chill out, and he's like, I'm not the one looking at me, or something. He says something like that, and I don't know why. Every time I think of somebody talking about themselves, I think of that part in that movie. Freaking movie's awesome. Gotta love Step Brothers. Any other Step Brother fans? John C. Reilly, yes, thank you. He's awesome. You know, I think really impressed me about that guy playing that character was I think up until then I hadn't seen him in a comedic role. In fact, it seems like the first thing I saw him in was Gangs of New York with Dicaprio. So he was like the cop, you know, that was like playing both sides or something. I can't remember, but you know, it seemed like I seen him in more roles like that where he was very serious and you know maybe a villain, whatever. And then and then to see him do a comedic role and just nail it like that and Talladega Nights, like I just thought he was every bit as good as Will Ferrell, and that's saying a lot because Will Ferrell's like you know comedic genius, you know. But yeah, I think he did really really well. It's like so it's just funny like when you I think that's like typecasting, right? You see a character in a certain role and you think that's all they're good at, and then they do something totally flipped out, you know, on the other side of the spectrum, and they show you how amazing they can be. Yeah, he was in Boogie Nights, wasn't he? Nice. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's one of the things that really impresses me about actors and actresses is when they show their range like that. Super cool. Well, that's another one to pass the time. Who's the most versatile actor or actress that you can think of? Let me read a couple of these real quick. Yeah, Ricky, we'll be doing another critique session real soon. I'll have to get with Dave and see when he thinks a good time would be for that. Those things are pretty long, so we'll have to see if maybe we can get something going earlier in the day. Send out, let everybody know, and then try to get more people on because man, it fills up quick, and then we don't get to see everybody. Which I don't know how we'd ever see everybody because a lot of people show up for those, but. Lego Batman guy, let's see. Great Fanny, appreciate that. When inking, brush pens or Sharpies? Oh, definitely brush pens. Well, I mean, different things. I use brush pens for fills. I wouldn't recommend using Sharpies because your work will turn purple later. I mean, that can happen with different pens. You just got to check the quality of the ink. But that's why I don't use Sharpies anymore for fills. And then, yeah, definitely use brush pens for my fills. I think that's what you're asking. Oh, Jim Carrey, yeah, yeah, for versatility, for sure. He's done some pretty wide ranges of character types, both serious and comedic. Yeah, I'd have to definitely say he's done really well. It was cool to see him in Sonic. I thought like, man, he's getting old. He's gotten a bit kind of eccentric and weird or whatever. Not down him. He's awesome, but all that and no, he was cool in Sonic. I watched that with my kid, and I was thinking, man, he's still doing his thing. Eddie Murphy, yeah, yeah, especially when you really couple like his everything he's done. Like his voiceovers are amazing. Doctor Doolittle and Love Him and Shrek and back in the day Beverly Hills Cop. Those were my favorite. Those were my favorite movies as a kid. Movies I shouldn't have probably been watching as a younger dude, or because that seems like I was real young. Like I shouldn't have been watching them, but 48 Hours. Like those are some great movies. So yeah, he's done a lot of range as well. Yeah, Will Smith. I love Will Smith as an actor and definitely as a person. He's just a great guy. And range as far as like being able to sing and even make hit music for his own movies. That's nuts. But I still don't think his range. Like I would say Eddie Murphy's got more range, but um, and Jim Carrey's got more range. But Will Smith is kind of has played more of that you know tough big guy kind of role. But I don't know. Then he was Fresh Prince. He does have some range for sure. But um, yeah, and he's done a lot of heartfelt stuff too. So yeah, maybe he does. It's tough. There's a lot of good ones out there. I'm trying to think who my favorite would be for range. Let's see. Yeah, now you guys got me thinking those actors. I definitely do think Jim Carrey is a he's done a lot of different types. I do remember thinking when he did a few of those serious roles, I'm like, oh man, here it goes. He's gonna fail miserably at this, and he did pretty well. But I would have to say my favorite actor though overall, and it would encompass range as well, would be Leonardo DiCaprio, mainly because he's um he's done so many different roles that again, I don't picture him like I wouldn't have pictured him being successful like in The Revenant and stuff like that. Like where it seems like that's not his type of role. How could what's weird about him too or crazy about him? I'm pretty sure he turned down the role of Spider-Man. So imagine that, somebody that has his pick of these different roles and literally turns down something that, and I want to say is a huge fan. Like he felt that he wouldn't do that character justice and he passed on it. Like to know that about yourself as an actor, where some of these actors just take, you know, they're chasing the money, right? Like the big roles. But then you have to know that about yourself that, you're not going to be able to live up to that one. That's a funny one. Look up actors and actresses that pass on major roles, and man, there's some wild ones. Like one of the ones that comes to mind is Nicolas Cage was going to be Superman, and I don't know if he passed on that or that just fell through. But they have pictures of him, in the suit and all that with the long hair. Oh, it would have been horrific. I was like so glad that didn't happen. But and even though I'm a Nick Cage fan, but I just can't see that working out. Yeah, see, and I can't agree with you there, Sketchbook. I get what you're saying. DiCaprio's my favorite actor, probably by a lot, really. But Chris Evans just embodied Captain America so well. I don't know how. I know DiCaprio could have, did something cool there, but I don't know how he would have measured up to that. Because there's a certain physicality about some of these characters that you just have to adopt. Like Hugh Jackman literally turning into Wolverine. You know what I mean? Because you look at the first version where he was Wolverine, and he was not. I mean, he was good from the start, but he definitely didn't have the physical presence. And what's really weird is the dude's like 6'3", 6'4", or something, and it's like Wolverine was always a short, stocky character, but everything else fit. And then physically, he turned into that character um, with an insane workout regimen. It was just amazing. Like, really showed that guy's grit. That he was gonna be the best version of that character he could be. But I don't think DiCaprio's really not that type of actor. Like he doesn't really change physically for his roles, not in that way that I've ever seen. But that's where these superhero actors they go to a whole nother level. Like I'm excited to see The Rock as Black Adam because for years I was sitting there thinking, why is he not being casted for these superhero roles? He's already, the brawn side of what they need, and a great actor and a very likable personality. And yeah, it's like finally we're gonna see him as Black Adam, so that should be pretty cool. Hey, Cartoon Block, good to have you here, man. Thanks very much. Do appreciate that. Yeah, even though I'm going really slow here because I'm like we're talking about movies all of a sudden, but it's fun. It's fun to talk about movies. I think for the background here, just get away with a quick and easy effect. Maybe throw a highlight behind them. And shadow the sides of it. The Rock is an American treasure. Yeah, he's pretty darn close. Oh, he's awesome. Yeah, and talk about somebody that's came a long, long ways. Yeah, amazing dude. The Rock is an amazing dude. I've listened to some motivational stuff from him, and it's powerful stuff. It's great. But to watch him go from even a powerhouse in wrestling, and then to turn into the biggest action star. I mean, he's pretty much, he's like as big as Stallone was in his heyday. Bigger. I mean, I'm not saying size wise. I'm saying overall acting and but bigger. I mean, more movies probably at this point. I don't know. I have to check that, but man, just like I said, I find it hard to believe that he wasn't in more superhero roles. He's too busy doing all the other cool action flicks. What was I shading on this? I think the power next. All right, here's where I need your guys' help. What color should the power be? I'm not picturing it for some reason. Maybe like a golden energy? Red, blue, I don't know. I'll sip my coffee while you guys deliberate on what color the power should be. Where can I find comic reference to draw? Just pick up your favorite books. When you say reference, do you mean like poses or scenes? I mean, magenta for the color of the power. I'm not putting pink for the power. No, magenta is basically pink, just in a fancier terminology. Green? All right, you guys aren't even trying. Unless, well, maybe lime green. No. Actually, lime green would be cool because it'd kind of be like spawnish. Yeah, true, Ricky. I'm going to have a tough time making that power pop off the white background. Yeah, let's do this. I will start with like a darker golden. I just added an extra layer. Let's do it like this. If you start with a solid first, use the shadow brush, should be fine. Go with a darker orangish brown. So that becomes our base. Looks weird at first. Bear with me. And then I'll brighten this up. Go to a highlight brush. Yeah, so I was thinking like if this character had some kind of a controlled radiation effect. So like he was radioactive energy, but extremely controlled. So like he wouldn't be dangerous around people. Cause it would kind of be messed up, be like a superhero, but you were, inadvertently harming people with your radiation. So it'd be controlled. And then I thought, maybe I should look up like some of the science of that. Like what are things that, because we've learned to control radiation, that we have developed scientifically. I don't know. I always have to like research it a little bit to know what I'm talking about there because I'm just guessing. But I think that's part of the fun of it, you know, like looking at ways that it would actually utilize some pretty neat results with the character, the storytelling. I don't know, does that look alright or does that look silly? Spartan from Youngblood. Man, is that his name? It's Spartan, isn't it? Who was that? What did I call him earlier? I called him something else. Spartan was the main character, right? With the bow and arrow, right? Yeah, you know what's neat about these power effects too with digital? This is one of the reasons I love digital, especially for the coloring process. You can just take it and go to one of these sliders, and then you can just pew. You want green? You want aqua? You want pink? You want purple? You know, and then you can like animate it, and then do sound effects. You know what I mean? Oh man, the view count went way down when I did that sound effect. Yeah, I'm using the Apple Pencil. He's he's MRI man. Nice. Well, you know what? Maybe since he's MRI man, he can spot people's weaknesses. That's his power. That's funny. He's MRI man. And it almost makes sense to make it match the suit. I don't know. Or did it look better the way it was? Shaft. That's what I was thinking of. It's Shaft, right? Who was Spartan then? God, you guys are going to make me start Googling stuff. Yeah, Shaft. That's what I was thinking he was talking about. But somebody said Spartan. Was there another character in Youngblood called Spartan? Maybe add some color onto the Kirby Crackle too. Oh man, Ricky's an editor. That's like a total editor thing. Oh, you look like you're done with it. Hey, could you redraw it real quick for me? Cause I don't like it. Now let me see. So if I go here, hey, look what the colors look like without the inks. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, so grab this part. How would I do this? Lock transparent pixels, and then isolate this area like this. And then actually I'm going to cut this out. Cut, paste, then lock this one. Spartan is with Wildcats. Okay. Huh. Oh yeah, yes, the leader of Wildcats. All right, I got it now. You're talking about Spartan from Wildcats, not Youngblood. Did I get that wrong? I must have read it wrong then. No, no. Okay, so yeah, all right. You guys just confused me. You guys are doing this on purpose. You're all sitting comfortably in your living spaces laughing at me. I know what's going on right now. Okay, so if I take this, lock transparent pixels, take a blue, would it be a lighter blue or darker? Let's just start with a darker blue. What brush is this? This is a highlight brush. Go to a shadow brush first. I'm going to lose some of those white shapes at first. Interesting. Perplexing. Alright, I'm not digging that. I think I just ruined it. That's awesome. Okay, highlight brush. Go to a lighter blue. Yeah, it kind of flattens out that effect, but you know what? what I could try to do is use the same Kirby Crackle. And change the blending mode on the brush maybe. Let's try that. Let's change the blending mode to, where is it? It's under rendering, I believe. Let's put it to add. No. It looks like bubbles. It's not supposed to look like bubbles. It's supposed to look like power. I'm going back, folks. Oh, too far back. I think I like it like that. What do you guys think? The red orange, the orange or the blue? The orange or the blue pill? Neo. Shaft was the archer from Youngblood. Spartan was the Wildcats. Yeah. He had the pink energy emanating from his hands. Oh, yeah. See, I can't do that anyways, because then it's going to be a... God, now I feel like I just took those two characters and did a mashup. No. I'm going to get sued. Orange. We got 2 for orange. Orange, orange. I'm going to get sued. Again. Twice in the same year. This is crazy. 2021 is off to a bad start. Okay, kidding. No, it's off to a pretty good start, actually. We got 3 for orange, 1 for blue. Sorry, Saman Kucher. All right, so I think this is it. Like, I probably add a few more little adjustments, but I think that's pretty well colored. And this was supposed to be about Procreate brushes, but it turned into more just coloring and talking about anything we could talk about. Stop drawing, you're gonna get sued. I'm not. So true. You know what? If you're not getting sued in comics, you're not doing something right. That's how I feel about it. Anyways, I'm going to bring this one to a close. I really appreciate everybody jumping in and hanging out for the live stream. We will be doing more art reviews very soon. I'll keep everybody posted on that. Yeah, and I need some content ideas. I need to know what do you guys want to see on the channel or the live streams or anything. What is it? What's the secret sauce, people? What's cool? What's fun? What are the cool kids doing? Bravo Delta just got here. I love how, I'm wondering how many of you just wait for me to say I'm done, because like every time I'm like, it's time to go, folks. Thanks for stopping by. Someone's like, I just got here. If I need to start, if I was on a schedule, it'd be better, right? That's what I got to do. Thanks for all the free education. Oh, of course, Gene Arvan, happy to do so. Education should be free. Of course, we do have to pay for our teachers, but the sharing of education and ideas is very important. Sequential art, how to do the whole process work. Sheesh. Yeah, I know it. And I've been getting a lot of requests for that. I'm going to start doing some more panel layouts on the page, of course on the page, on the channel very soon here. And maybe even a class or two in a course. I've been doing, I've got another one on Skillshare getting ready to come out on clothing. So you guys probably know that I, got some content on Skillshare. But I will be doing some YouTube videos for page layouts. I've got some ideas in the works for that. So Chris, looks good. Robert, loved the muscle definition. Thank you. I do work out, so I'm very happy that you've noticed. You mean the art? My bad. Thank you. Anyways. Yeah, so sorry for those of you that just showed up. I'll get on a schedule. I think that'll be better for everybody. I really appreciate you tuning in and watching. Remember, those brushes are free. So you can just sign up for them, check them out if you use Procreate. If not, then there will be I'll be doing more traditional art videos. Actually, this is something else I want to run by you real quick. So I've already been practicing this, and I think this would make for a good video series where I just draw with an ink pen. Okay, so one of the reasons why I love doing that, I do that all the time. I just don't share that work. That's how I work through the idea stage almost always, because something about drawing directly with ink on cheap paper, just sketch pad, whatever, the ideas seem to flourish. You know, you're very immediate, and there's no fixing it, there's no changing it, it's just straight sketching. And so I was thinking about doing some videos where I talk about that process, and you know, they're going to be less than perfect drawings, so hopefully you guys will forgive me, but I think it's a very important thing that we should all do. In fact, one of my favorite pens, let me pick it up, it's sitting right here. I use a Pilot G207, and it is a great, great free-flowing gel ink pen. So that's what I would be using. And yeah, it's like it never, something about this pen, it's always fluid, always smooth, and I can make quick lines with it. Love that pen, and it's a great way to get ideas going. And thank you, my sketchbook, for the super chat for 5. I really appreciate that. Very nice of you. So yeah, so you guys would be up for that? You think that'd be a good series of videos? We could do a playlist. We could do live streams. You know, we could even do one where we do a live stream where I bring you guys in through what do I use? There's that Alzheimer's again. Anyways, that live stream software I use, I don't use it all the time, so I can't remember the name. And I bring you guys in, and maybe you share some of your own pen and ink, you know, pen on paper sketches. And again, they're not perfect, they're not clean, they're not pretty, they don't need to be like, hey, check out how good I am at it. It's not about that. It's just a very organic way to express ideas. A very, I don't know, I find it to be the best way. I'm studying a book right now from Scott Robertson. I think it's just called How to Draw, right? By Scott Robertson. And yeah, he really swears by that process. So I'll be sharing some more stuff that I learned out of that book. Yeah, StreamYard, yes, StreamYard. Thanks for helping me out there. So yeah, so maybe we'll do that. I think that'd be a fun one, something that can be very interactive for all of us. I want to get some more going where I bring you guys on the channel and not just draw with you. Like, it's one thing where you watch me draw, we talk about it. That's fine and dandy. I'll do those as well. But I'd like to do some where I help you draw. You know, we work through some of the process together. I think that's the most important aspect of it, right? When you go in a classroom or you're in a studio working with other people, that's the part that you do that levels everybody up, that gets everybody better. So, but again, thanks so much for tuning in. I'll bring some more content on the channel very soon. I appreciate the support. As always, keep drawing, keep having fun, and bye for now.